Tilea's Troubles, Part 107. Examples. The City of Ravolan, Spring 2404. Gradger sounded breathless when he arrived in the square, but this wheezing indicated nothing for certain, as the function of his mask always made him sound so. He made his way immediately to the chattel overseer, Adragash.
"I have order commands from the Lord Master himself. You must obey, prompt, quick, yes, yes?"
Adragash's lips parted to bare his teeth. He clutched a long whip, as did all his helps, the handle of which he rested upon his shoulder, so that the twisted hemp and wire cord hung down his back. Upon his head he had a leather cap, with little iron cheek plates a-dangling at the sides, and in his other hand he carried a blade, the way in which one might carry a cane.
"Calm yourself," Adragash hissed. "I always obey, never delay. You have no need to deliver such advice warnings. Just simply say what should and must be done, and it will be."
Gradger now remembered how much he disliked the overseer. Admittedly, there were few Skaven, if any, he did like, but there were gradations to his antipathy, from minor irritation to deep loathing. Adragash was on the higher end of the scale. Still, this was the overseer's domain, and all the servants around were his to command. And so, as almost always, Gradger's dislike was something he had to make some effort to conceal.
"The chattel slaves,"
he said, pointing needlessly at the crowded cage that had been erected in the square.
"They needs must be prepared."
Adragash did not move, nor did he speak, merely narrowed his eyes a little.
"Well," said
Gradger more loudly,
"prepare them."
"I will do so, most keen and carefully. But you must speak say more, Gradger friend, for here they are, penned and patient, awaiting our command orders. But what is the order? Are they to be fed, moved, made ready for labour work? You must and should speak reveal exactly what the Lord Master requires."
Gradger was mentally lifting Adragash's name up his list, to join those he despised the very most.
"They must be moved, made ready to be butchered, if when the order is given," he said.
"Then they will be, I promise and assure," answered the overseer. "But where to go, and how to kill?"
"They are to be made examples of, if necessary needed," said Gradger. "Outside the city walls. I will show you where."
"Examples if necessary, if needed," said Adragash, in a curious tone. "How so? For whom? And why?"
"No question talk is required, only dutiful obeisance. Yes?" said Gradger in a commanding manner.
"At least," asked the overseer, "if nothing more, tell how they are to be butchered, so that preparations might be made for a suitable, satisfactory, and swift execution of their execution."
"Their corpses are to adorn, decorate the land around the city, to strike fright fear into any foe who approach."
"Are these foes expected, now or soon, or is it that they might merely perhaps come?"
For a moment Gradger's urge to appear important and informed got the better of him, and instead of again insisting on Adragash's immediate action, he said,
"Man-Thing riders have been seen close near to the city. Perhaps outrider scouts for an army bringing aid relief too late. If when that army does arrive, they are to witness what is promised to be their fate at our hands, so that they know terror fear."
"Grisly deaths and mangled corpses?"
suggested Adragash.
Yes, they are to be stake skewered and left to stink rot,"
said Gradger.
"Stakes, you say, speak,"
said the overseer, his curious tone carrying a hint of sarcasm.
"Stakes yet to be made?"
Yes, you must make them, and you must place them. The soldiers have much else to do, and are to be ever and always ready for battle."
"The chattel slaves will make their own stake skewers," said Adragash. "If necessary, if needed, then they will be put upon them. If not, then both stakes and chattel will further serve the Lord Master howsoever he desires."
Momentarily satisfied that at last the order had been delivered, and apparently accepted, Gradger looked over at the iron-railed pen. He was confused. It would be sufficient to hold meat animals like swine and goats, but surely, if they tried, the man-things could climb over. Then he noticed two of the overseer's servants close to the cage. and inside a man-thing lying prone, and he understood immediately what happened to those foolish enough to attempt to climb the iron railings. One sharp thrust of a halberd, and the attempted escape would be ended. Suddenly, he noticed that most of the living chattel slaves were looking not at the freshly fashioned corpse, but at him and Adragash.
"They stare and glare,"
he said.
"Those there and there, they look at us. They have defiance, rebellion left in them, yes, yes?"
Adragash grinned.
"They do. Yet, Gradja friend, this is not so bad. What strength of will they harbour possess reveals a strength left also in their bodies. Such will be necessary needed to cut, carry, and carve well."
Gradja was not convinced. One of the females had fixed her gaze upon him, and despite her lack of fangs and the absence of red in her eyes, he could clearly see her hate-anger.
"If they have such resistance rebellion left in them, then they will surely not make their own skewer steaks."
"No, they will not. But when they are told to make stakes for a palisade meant to skewer spit the enemy's horses, and that if their work labour is done fast quick, then they will be allowed to eat, then they will have motive to work, as well as the required strength."
In that moment, despite his dislike of the overseer, Gradja understood why Adragash had been given command of the chattel slaves.